Okay, good morning. We are doing this study of doing church better based on Alexander Fenter's book, Doing Church, and on the 6 videos that he produced to supplement that. And we've been looking at the 3 aspects of this in terms of the theological framework, the sociological framework, and the practical framework. And we've looked at the theological framework, which is that we do church based on the Bible as understood in terms of the kingdom of God, that the purpose of the church is for the king and for the kingdom, to worship and to express compassion. And this second session looks at the sociological framework. And just to summarize the material, I want to talk about 3 models of doing church. One is very uncommon, one is usual, and the other is ideal. And so basically the first way or the first model of doing church is what we might call the phantom chaotic church, where there are no leaders, no members. It's anarchic, and it's very similar to what it says in Judges 17:6, that in those days Israel had no king, and each person did what he considered to be right. Each person did what he considered to be right. They just did their own thing, no leaders. Chaos reigned. And of course, this is not a very common model for church. Maybe the COVID pandemic will make it more popular as people aren't able to join. And sometimes, even though the church isn't completely chaotic, it isn't a phantom church. Sometimes there's a kind of an anarchic spirit that inhabits some people. So that's the first model, very uncommon, just chaos, no members, no leaders. The second would be what we might call the purpose-driven church, where there's a strong leader and the members are useful in doing the purpose of the church, achieving normally the pastor's vision, a fairly autocratic model. And I suppose this comes out, in some ways, it comes from the historic denominations, both Protestant and Catholic, strong hierarchical ideas of leadership. Another reason for this is to some extent, I think, the product of the church growth movement that started with Donald McGavran, people like Peter Wagner. And some of the principles of church growth include a very strong senior leader. And I remember one description saying he's more of a rancher than a pastor, someone that is a very powerful leader. And this, in a sense, this purpose-driven model is probably the most normal that you'll find in the church today. And sometimes because it's very program and purpose-orientated, people get hurt. And then the third model, and this is the model that I would really want to promote, is what we might call values-drawn or presence-led, where there's obviously a senior leader with a team, and it's more of an associational model rather than just anarchy or autocracy. And basically the essence of this model is a group of leaders who are at the center in the presence, living out the core values of the kingdom of God, living for the king in worship and for the kingdom in community. And people become members as they are drawn by a desire for the presence and to join the leaders who are living out these core values at the center. And basically, this is the kind of church that I would want to join. At CLCB, at Christian Life Camps Bay, we need to ask the question, who is actually at the center of our church living out the values? Are they the leaders? And do our existing leaders share the same core values? And these are things that we need to think about going forward. I thank you.